This map of Russia showed the expansion of the early state into the full-fledged empire it became. The majority of Russia's land had already been achieved by the time of Nicholas I, but over the next 100 years, Russian territory continued to expand into Manchuria, Central Asia, and Northern Europe, as shown in pink. The Treaty of St. Petersburg of 1825 redefined the boundaries of Russian and British America. After the United States bought Alaska, it eventually led to a land dispute between the United States and Canada and Great Britain. In 1833, the Russian Empire and the Ottoman Empire signed the Treaty of Hunkar-Iskelesi. This treaty stated if either was attacked by a foreign power, they would help each other out. The Ottomans did not have to send military forces, but instead were to close the Dardanelles to all non-Russian ships. Britain and France were wary of the treaty, as they were concerned it had given Russia freedom to send warships through the Dardanelles. These doubts ended with the signing of the London Straits Convention in 1841. Fought during the Greek War of Independence, the Battle of Nerevino was a pivotal victory for the Allied forces of England, France, and Russia against those of Egyptian and Ottoman forces. The main reason for the fervor of fighting in the Greek War of Independence was Russia's desire to expand into the Black Sea area, which Great Britain wanted to avoid. Great Britain, along with France, joined Russia for the sake of saving the dying Ottoman Empire, while being pushed to help the Greek Orthodox Christians buy their homelands. By joining the Russians, as opposed to fighting them, they were able to control some of the land themselves and seize the Russian homogeny of the region. The Treaty of London had beginnings in this Greek War of Independence. The Ottoman Empire had controlled the Greek peninsula for quite some time, and the Greek people were fed up with it. The powers wrote the Treaty of London in order to cease hostilities between the newly developed Greek state and the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans refused, and thus the Battle of Nerevino began, which in turn forced the Ottomans to sign a harsher treaty. This saved the newly developed Greek state from collapse. The four great European powers of the time, Austria, France, Great Britain, and Russia, signed the London Straits Convention, which was designed to deny warships passage through the Straits of Bosporus and Dardanelles. This severely limited Russian naval forces as they were trapped in the Black Sea without a way to go to the Mediterranean. The convention was itself a reaction to the Treaty of Hunkar-Iskelesi, which allowed Russian and Ottoman forces alone to control the vital straits. The main reason that Nicholas I signed the London Straits Convention was to quell fears that the Russians and Ottomans had a close alliance, which would cause the great powers to attack Russia and recreate the balance of power. This is a map of the major fronts of the Crimean War. The war fought against Russia by the Ottoman, Great Britain, French, and Sardonic empires for the control of the Ottoman Empire. The war ended in 1856 at the signing of the Treaty of Paris. Russia lost much of its territories and was forced to grant Serbia more freedom than it had. The Treaty of Shimoda was based on Russia's need of Japan for the industrialization of Siberian and Alaskan holdings. With the strategically located Japan, trade ports for the prominent use by Russians was needed. This fostered the trade agreement called the Treaty of Shimoda, a Japanese port, which was one of the three that was agreed upon. The United States only received two ports, which showed Japan's interest in their closer neighbors. The treaty also divided northern territories into Russia and Japanese holdings, with the dividing line being between Itorfu and Yurubu. The Treaty of Aigan between the Russian and Qing Emperor was delivered after the Chinese began losing the Second Opium War. After the British and French forces seized the Forbidden City, the Russian forces threatened war on the Amur River front. This treaty guaranteed land from the Stavany Mountains and the Amur River to give from China to Russia, and established the modern border between the two.